Ms. Umar Srinivasan is the head of talent management at Larsen & Toubro's Heavy Civil Infrastructure. She is responsible for framing comprehensive strategies across the entire employee lifecycle within a workforce of more than 9,500 spread across India and the Middle East. She brings a wealth of expertise and insights to her role, as well as a passion for creating a high-performance culture that fosters learning, innovation, and excellence.
Hi, everybody. It's always a bit of a stress for me. I'm not much of a public speaker. I have too many pressures at the moment. One, I think I'm audible. This keeps going up. One, when you have sessions which are very powerful before yours, which have set benchmark, I think that's one. You need to raise to that benchmark, you know. Second, I'm standing between you and your lunch. That's more tough. So, Shyam, if you could just ping me, because I tend to lose track of time sometimes. This is a topic which I've been living through this is my 29th year of working, okay? I didn't want to put a presentation together. I think I wanted it to be extempo. That's what I told Captain Vijay Kumar also. Before I start, a little bit about me and a little bit about the place, the organization that I represent. I hail from a small town called Kumbakonam. I did my entire schooling from a government school there. And then I went on to do my engineering. Metallurgy was the specialization that I did from NIT Jaipur. We are talking about a time when we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have flights to fly back when we wanted to come back home. I completed my engineering in 1994. Started my job as a metallurgist. Okay, now I'm representing this session as a HR specialist. What an irony. And addressing a bunch of management grads. So that is a story, that is a message that is clearly hidden here. You know, what has happened for me in these 29 years is a bit of a self-discovery. Of course, I did discover my strengths and what I enjoy way ahead. Started the first couple of months in metallurgical consulting, realized that's not my forte. But I noticed that I like connecting with people, networking, influencing. So I felt I need to pick up something more leveraging on my strengths and what I really enjoy doing. That's how next 6 years in the IT industry, selling mainframes and mid-range. You know, these are large IBM computers which used to be priced at that time, I'm talking about 95, 96, at 12 lakhs and 15 lakhs. So sales gave me the high. I realized sales and marketing is where I belong. I like to capture an opportunity. I like to solve a problem. And then HR happened, 2001. The markets went down. Some of you may not have been even born by then. We had recession back then. Moved to HR. Next 17 years, I joined an organization as an individual performer, as somebody who is focusing on leadership hiring for corporate houses. It used to be called MAFWA, which today some of you, or many of you may know, it's called Randstad. I was with them for 17 years. I stepped out in 2017 as the India head, president for their India operations. And then, of course, I am in L&T now. A little bit about L&T. It needs no introduction, a 24 billion group into 4 major areas. We are into EPC, engineering, procurement, construction. We are into high-tech manufacturing, services, and energy. So here I am talking to you about what are the job search strategies. This is a topic which I can talk for the entire day. You know, so I had to put a structure. When we had the preparatory call with Shyam, I was just telling, what do I focus on? What do I need to? So I'm going to, for the next 15 minutes that I may have, I'm going to put myself in your shoe and talk. It might be sounding a little bit bookish, but I think it's important. There should be a takeaway at the end of it. First and foremost is how much one is aware of oneself. You know, jumping into job, I finished my management graduation, I have finished my engineering, I have finished my BCom or BSc, and then I jumped directly into a job search without knowing what I want. Most of us do that. Even when I was your age, all I wanted was a job with a good brand. So before that, I think you do have the time to do a little bit of introspection to understand what you want. We will dwell in each of these 4 or 5 points little deeper, okay? Second is understanding the market, understanding the external ecosystem. You know, this market has seen so many ups and downs. So somebody is telling this industry is moving up, somebody is telling IT services is kind of slowing down, somebody, manufacturing is it, I was just having a conversation with one of the leaders. He was telling, how is the market? Is it sluggish? So I think this age you should be curious to understand the ecosystem, understand what kind of industries are doing well, what is the difference, which organization is in which category. I think I will give you some ideas which you could take back and then make an informed choice which direction you want to go, okay? And then comes, how do you prepare yourself? You know, how do you generate a lead for you to get an interview, an opportunity? How do you prepare yourself, your resume? And then how do you have the conversation? So this is what I like to cover a lot in 14 minutes now. I just brought a paper because I'm also getting old. I keep forgetting some good, interesting points I should not forget, so I'm just going to be looking down at the paper once in a while. So the one concept which I really like before we get into the subject is called Ikigai. How many of you know about this Japanese secret of joyful life, Ikigai? Can you put up your hand? Don't worry, I'm not going to ask any of you talk about it, but yes, I'm glad that quite a few hands went up. I think that's the power of this generation, you know. A lot of you must be Gen Y or Gen Z, if I'm right. I didn't know till I started working, and maybe mid of my career is when I got introduced to this concept. Your passion, your vocation, your mission, and profession, when they align, you know what you love doing, you know what you love, and you are good at it, and there is a need for it in the market, and you get paid for it. What more do you want? I think sometimes I feel I have a high sense of gratitude because of the place I have led to. You know, I love interacting with people. I like making a change. I'm a change agent in that sense. I have had some very great experience in my career. I have been the change agent in bringing upon transformation in the organizations that I have worked with. So working with people, influencing, and I get paid for it, and I get promoted for it. I think that's what you people should look at and work towards. Now, we talked about awareness. What is it? There is L&T at any point, if you come into our floors, any of our businesses floors, you will have a whole bunch of interns who are working with us. They'll be working with us in some projects or other. So when Captain Vijay Kumar asked me to address this session, I called them. I said, hey, tell me, your generation, what is it that you struggle with? What is it that drives you people? The first answer that came was, we need a job. A lot of times we go into the company website of some of the corporates, we apply, and then we don't even, it's like a black box. We don't know where to start the search. So I asked, what is it that you want to do? And then they started looking up, and somebody said, yeah, I like HR. Somebody said, I like recruitment. I like this. And then they started introspecting, and then, so what is that one thing that could help you people in the job search process? They said, how do we get that break? You know, it's a chicken and egg story. Most of the corporates will say, if you have experience, we will look at you. And then, if you had experience, obviously it shouldn't be an issue, right? So, it is going to be it is a dichotomy, but we will come to that in a bit. So, understand what are your key drivers. What is it? Is it money? Do you want to be a part of a large brand? Or is it the job that you're going to be doing? There are multiple things when you're looking at an individual. When I started my career, I wanted to be working for an organization which is very large, where I get into the office, it's all fancy with the great interiors. I think that makes a huge difference when we are looking at, right? So understand what is it you are looking at. 2, introspect on what your strengths are and your shortfalls. It's not just the technical skills. As my previous speaker was talking about, technical skills are something which you can acquire. But from the soft skills point of view, introspect and see what are those skills that I have acquired. Like, am I a great communicator? Because that's the first thing that comes through when you're in a job search. You sit for a conversation with a prospective employer. How you speak, how with clarity that you speak is going to make a first impression. Not that that's going to make the decision, but that's a very important element. And for me, personally, when I hire freshers, we look for the attitude. The attitude is it's not something which one can quantify, but it's about, does the person have the right attitude to be a team player? Is he or she somebody who can stretch? Is he somebody who is curious? Is he somebody who has, these are elements which you need to be, it's very difficult to describe, but a prospective employer definitely looks at the attitude of the individual when they are hiring. So look at what is it your aspirations are, what are your strengths, and what are your weaknesses. I think that's extremely important. Because anybody who gets into the job market is going to be working in an organization which has multiple generations. To be very frank, L&T has boomers. Boomers, I think they are up to 64. 1946 to 64 are the boomer generation. They are the CEOs or the leaders. So there are 4 generations which are working. When you are going to join an organization as a fresh mind, where multiple generations are there, the way we think, the way what motivates, I belong to the Gen X. I'm somebody, in a sense, free, independent, but I'm also somebody who aligns. I always tell my dad, I'm from a very small town. My dad is a retired professor, very middle-class family. So you have the subservient mentality. Okay, you have to align to your bosses. When the manager says do this, you don't question. You may not like it, but you do it. Because in the workplace, this job needs to be done, you need to do that, right? Whereas there are times now organizations have started, not that you should say, I will not do it. It's about, I'm not comfortable, I'm not very good at it, or to push back is something which we see the next 2 generations doing, which is a good quality, to speak up with respect. That's attitude. I'm giving you a glimpse of what are the things which, so I think you should understand the generational sensitivity will come into play, and when you're in a large organization, that is going to make a huge difference for you. Familiarize with yourself with the ecosystem. Quickly, this is a very large topic, but you should understand there are 3 dimensions here. Which industry should I pursue? If you're all management graduates, which is the industry I should go into? Which is where is the, we always have this term called sunset industries and sunrise industries. How many of you know which are the sunrise industries in the currently, in the current scheme of things? Sunrise industries are the ones which are hiring, which will grow in the next 5 to 10 years. There are many, but some of them are semiconductor, green energy sector, especially green hydrogen, energy sector is growing. Read up about it. Data centers, electric vehicles, we have renewables. So if you just look up on the internet on sunrise industries and do a bit of a Google on which are the organizations, large organizations in the space, that will give you a plethora of names. I think it's important for you to understand when you are making a choice. See, one is when the companies come into the campus and you're going to sit through, look for the brand that resonates with you. Look for the job that resonates with what you want. But if you are somebody who has finished or just finished and you want to step out and then search something on your own, I think you should understand this landscape. Second is the genre of the company. When I say genre, there are organizations which are multinationals. We all know there is no explanation. All the international firms, multinationals are there. And then we have large Indian houses like Tatas, like L&Ts. You have a lot of large Indian houses, Ranes, and if you see TVS, a closer home. There are so many large Indian houses. And then we have regional players. Then we have small, medium enterprises. And then family-run businesses. And then we have startups. I'm stating that now because a lot of times, if you see some of the people, I have changed 2 jobs before I could arrive at the right job or industry that I felt at home. Because at that time, there was nobody to advise me to look at some of the finer elements. How does the genre of the company affect an individual? You know, if you are somebody who likes to work in a, I'm not trying to put a frame and type fit every organization. Multinationals and large Indian organizations have processes well established, which means you go in, you plug and play. If you are somebody who likes to do that kind of, like, you know, I would like to take up in a structured organization and operate in that, that could be the place. If you are somebody who is a free thinker, you are somebody who would like to go and innovate, have your voice heard, startup is a great place to go. Startup is a place where you, right from the coffee boy to taking a photocopy to sitting in the boardroom with your managers and thinking through some of the solutions, new products and stuff like that happen. So I think the genre of the organization you choose is very, very critical. That's the culture we talk about. You know, we talk about that unsaid element when you walk into an organization. What do you feel? When I get up in the morning, do I feel like going into that company? Because this is going to be, your college days are over. Now it's going to be the next most important phase. And every day you'll be showing up there and you should feel motivated to go there. So research on the company, understand the genre, and of course, the last is the stage of the organization. You know, if it's a startup, the kind of competency, I don't know how many of you are aware of this word, competency that is needed to be a startup ecosystem is very different from a growth organization. Startup is something which has just started. You know, if you see all the .com startups, they have a word called grow big fast. First 2 to 3 years, all they want is grow the sales, grow the scale, build scale is what. So every job or every role holder in the organization, their competencies need to be aligned with it. And then comes the consolidation phase. Second, third, fourth year, they consolidate where they bring in processes, okay? I have made my sales, top line has come to a certain extent. Now I'll put processes, consolidate and start focusing on profitability. So that is, the stage of the organization defines the set of competencies they look for in freshers. Ability, VUCA is the word they say, but ability to deal with ambiguity. When you're in a startup, nobody is going to tell you this is the way you have to do things. It's about you define and you run with it. So if you are somebody who is not very comfortable with creative thinking, maybe you should rethink about the choice when you make. Similarly, if you are a perfectionist, I have been rejected twice in one of the organizations, by 2 organizations, because my psychometric profile that they did, they said, you are a perfectionist. You will find this job frustrating. So understanding oneself and then getting into the right organization is a very critical element. So next comes the very important part of job search. Now you have done this to the ecosystem, you have done the introspection, comes the job search and lead generation. This is a tough part of it, but how many of you closely network with your alumni, college alumni? Do you know that networking is one of the most powerful tool in landing up a job of your choice? Yes, you identify the ecosystem, brands that you want to be a part of, go to their websites, see their job pages, understand the organization, go to their career page, understand what kind of jobs are given to the management graduates. You understand all that, you apply. But I have heard by and large that sometimes you don't hear back. So keep trying in that, make the right choices. Second is job fairs, where companies come and really hire fresh minds in volumes. I think, of course, job portals, quite a few of them are if I'm going to talk about job portals here, I'm going to be preaching to the choir, because I belong to a generation where I never put my profile in the job portal. But having said that, LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster, I think quite a few, Naukri, Shine, there are quite a Fresher World, Internshala, there are so many sites where you could register your profile. We will talk a little bit about what you need to highlight in your profile. Have job alerts when you are registering yourself in these portals. When you know what kind of organization and what kind of role you want to be choosing, put job alerts. There are options in those sites and in even the career pages of some of the organizations that you want to join on. When a new job of a certain profile comes up, you get an automated alert. I think it's important to be there. So, needless to say, your social media presence need to be strong. And I don't think that's an advice I need to give to this whole bunch of hall of kids, because I'm sure you are already there. But what you need to be mindful is, every requirement that comes in, every job, you can't have one standard profile that is to be given. My boss's, I was talking to my boss's son. He is studying in the US and he just completed. He came in one of the AI-related competition which was done, machine learning related, some competition US had. His team came third across the US. And then he was doing a job application for one of the leading firms, and he had not mentioned it in his profile. So I asked him, why is it that you have not mentioned? That's such a, if I were you, I would even put, I came first in the singing competition in my 12th standard, I would put that. So we tried to project, but what he was telling was very intriguing. That's when I said, this is a point which I should bring up here. He said, Auntie, if I put AI, for freshers, when the profiles go into the ATS, every large organization has something called applicant tracking system. When you put your profile, it goes in there. And the applicant tracking system looks for keywords for that job, okay? So if it locates that he is a machine learning person and the role is for a data engineer, it will reject. So what I'm trying to say is, when you are making your profile, be mindful of what is the requirement. I am not asking you to fudge it. Whatever you are stating, tailor it to the requirement, highlight those aspects. For example, all your internships, your volunteering experiences, the tools, technologies that you have learned, the projects that you have done during your internship, highlight them. But do not make your profile more than 1 or 1.5 page. I have a 1.5 or 2 page. This is my 29th year of working. Not that I have made, I think before I joined L&T 6 years back, I had made it, but don't make it more than 1 page or 1.5 page. Nobody is interested in reading. When you are making your covering note, please do not write what you already have in the profile in your covering note. Talk a little bit about yourself. It should be a snippet. For me, sometimes when I see the covering note, do I want to meet this person or not? Or how do I arrange the profiles in the scheme of things? Where does you start making, we are all humans, we start making certain judgments around, okay, this person is somebody very interesting. So make it engaging, but not, a covering note cannot be more than half a page. Don't write one full long, all that you want to say. You can talk about it when you are in the interview, but do not put it in the paper. It becomes monotonous. People don't have time when you're hiring large number of people. So, and most important, in your profile, write only what you can talk about with conviction. Please pardon my English, but don't bullshit in your profile. Don't put something because you want to get that break. That's going to be counterproductive for your job selection. I think it's very important. And in LinkedIn, please do not put these lofty taglines like, thinker, innovator. You're just coming out. That's my bit of advice. When I go into LinkedIn, when I see some of the people who have just started their career or just 1 or 2 years, innovator, coach to CEOs, I said, really, it makes you think, but then that's an aspect which you need to be mindful. Highlight your academic achievements, if you have been at a leadership, for example, if you are the student council chief, or if you are somewhere held a leadership role, we love to see that. If you are part of the, say, football team or any of the sports team of your college, please put it. I think we love, and if you are talented, extracurricular, singing, traveling, biking, I'm an off-roader. So, put that. Gone are those days where it's just templatized, where this institute, only premier. Today we look for people who are the individuals with a certain right attitude, right soft skills, and a right mixture. And it's a delight when we come across graduates who bring that to the table. So put those snippets of it, don't downplay that. Of course, before you go for so coming back to before we get into the interview part, Sham, 5 minutes, okay. I think it's important, I reiterate, networking is a much underplayed aspect of job search. You need to be connecting with your alumni network. You need to be connecting with family and friends who are in the industry. A lot of times in large or even mid-sized organizations, there are roles which come up. They'll say, hey, I need this person by next week. Can you please arrange? Nobody is going to put it in the job portal, wait for the profiles to come, do the interviews, and then get them. Just, okay, reference. Okay, I know these 3 kids who came for internship, or I know this person. It quickly happens. So networking is an extremely powerful tool which is not understood by a lot. Please connect with, my daughter studies, she's doing her 3rd year in one of the engineering colleges. I keep telling her, she kept getting internships in Bangalore for some of the leading. She wants to be in Chennai when she comes for her summer. So I say, don't worry, you tell me the company, I will get it for you. He said, no, I'm like, you are embarrassing me. My friends will think that I'm using unfair means to be very frank, when you have a network, they can just show the doorstep. After that, how the individual is able to convince the company is up to them. So there is nothing wrong in using network to get that first break. So please leverage on your alumni network, family, friends, other professional connects, any industry memberships that you have, please connect and keep your eyes and ears peeled to what new opportunity comes your way. When you go for an interview, please prepare, understand about the company. Don't just show up with a copy of your resume. Research about the organization. Research, if possible, about the background of the individual. If tomorrow you're going to come and, oh, you are from I know her, I'm meeting her, she's from NIT, Jaipur, and then she worked with Randstad. It helps you be in, at least it gives you a certain degree of control. And one of the first questions most of the organizations ask is, what do you know about us? You can't say, I saw the website, but talk about, you should have a couple of lines prepared well about the organization. So researching is a very, very important element. Equally important is, tell me about yourself, is the standard question. How much ever years pass by, that's going to be a standard. Have a little bit of engaging elevator pitch about yourself. That too, what is called elevator pitch? I'm sure in the management school they would have taught. In sales, your prospective client and you are getting into the lift. You have been trying to get a break with that client, with the prospect for business deal. You are getting into the lift in the ground floor, and there are 5 floors. You are going to travel with them. You have time from the ground floor to the 5th floor to get a meeting with that prospect. So how do you package your organization, your product, and the entire proposition in that time span? That's called elevator pitch. You will get 2 minutes to talk about yourself. Don't go all over the place. Don't lose the focus. Please have always a nice way to represent yourself when you're asked about yourself. I think I don't want to be repetitive about, because we are running short of time. I would rather say, there is another thing. What are your strengths and weaknesses? This is a double-edged sword. When somebody asks, what are your weaknesses? You are worried that if I say my weakness, then that's going to be used against me. So always think of a couple of weaknesses or one weakness which you can speak, I'm a workaholic, is a good thing for a company. So be candid, but I think you should be smart in the way you handle some of these questions. Usually before anybody wraps an interview, they'll ask, do you have any questions for me? I don't know about this new generation. My generation, as for all those people who understand Tamil, ayyo, edavadhu question kettu, if they say, ayyo, romba over a question, you're asking too many questions, so I'm not going to give her a job. So we'll say, no questions, I'm all fine. I think no, that's the wrong stance to take. Have 2 or 3 very smart questions to ask, okay? One of the kids asked me, I think 6 months back, he had come for an interview. So I said, do you have any questions? He said, ma'am, did I clear the interview? Was his question. But then that's a question. He had the courage, and one has to look at it. Of course, he's with one of our businesses, but have some questions ready, and I think you should get through. Always when you are looking for a job, when you are looking for a job opportunity, don't join for a job, look for a career, you know. If you are able to make these steps, at least some logical sense in right industry, right content, right stage of the organization, positioning yourself, not everything is going to happen perfect. Be ready for it. But when you do that, you are all set to go for a career where you grow, you learn, and you thrive. You don't go there to find the next job which will pay you some $5,000 or $10,000 more onto gem. Don't do that. First 5 to 10 years, learn. Then start focusing on earning. This first 5-6 years are very critical in how you shape up as a professional and who becomes a manager and who continues in the same path. I think that's very important, and that's something which I wanted to wrap up. I don't want to go further onto it. Maybe we'll have a few questions and then should be able to. Thank you.